We are joined by the former unified 140-pound champion of the world, who is making his long-anticipated return to the ring, and Jose Ramirez. Jose, before we get to the questions, I want to start off with this. Since the last time you fought in Fresno, well, first I think it should be noted that Jose Ramirez has headlined at the Save Mart Center 5 times in his career. Over 65,000 fans combined have gone through the turnstiles in his 5 headlining appearances at Save Mart Center. Certainly one of the top draws in North America. So with that preface, I ask you, Jose, it's been a few years since you've headlined at Save Mart Center. You've had a couple fights delayed due to COVID. You've had to fight in a bubble. You're coming off, obviously, your last performance in limited capacity at Virgin Hotels in front of 1,000 people. So with that being said, Jose, how excited are you to not only return, but to do so in front of the fans that have supported you your entire career?
It's always, it's always quite an honor, to be honest, to fight in Fresno. The atmosphere there, it's second to none. People really support boxing. People really support me. Not just for the boxer that I am, but also for the person that I am. And it's not just Fresno, but it's the combination of all the small communities, all the real communities that make Central California strong. And it motivates me. It motivates me to another level, to push myself past my own limits sometimes. And it's always a great show, and I'm looking forward to it.
And it should be clear, yes, Jose is from Avenal, which is a farming community about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Fresno. And whenever he's introduced, he always makes sure he lets us know when you introduce me, it says, proudly representing the entire Central Valley. So that is certainly crystal clear every time you enter the ring, Jose. And I think it's only fitting. The first question for Jose Ramirez comes from the 5'9", Derek Van Vleck. Derek, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Morning, Jose. How you doing?
Hey, Derek. How's it going?
Good. It's going to be great to see you in Fresno again. Now, you had said in the past that because of COVID and all of the fights that have been rescheduled for you, I believe 5 times, and then you had the O'Connor fight before that was canceled right before you were supposed to step into the ring. You said that tested your motivation and your love for the sport. I've read a couple of interviews that you've done. You said that this loss has kind of rejuvenated you and that you had to look at some of the mistakes. 2-part question. 1, are those mistakes kind of things that you did in the ring or out of the ring preparing? And how glad are you going to be stepping into that ring, hearing 15,000 screaming fans for you, and be able to look down and see your family ringside again?
Yeah, that's a great question. The first one, I think both. I think outside of the ring, I learned a lot to face adversity outside the ring. Having the fight postponed many times, to training throughout the whole year, and not being rewarded. It was different. It was a new experience. It was something that it was new for me. So, you could say I was. I had a low experience on that, and I didn't have too much experience. So I learned how to more of the mental part to come across that, and to stay focused and to not be distracted. And then, of course, a lot of mistakes inside the ring. One, I was fighting too nice against Josh Taylor. He took advantage of that. He took advantage of the clinching. There was some things that I did wrong there. I could have been a little bit more aggressive, and of course, I could have protected myself and probably been more careful and things like that. But I learned a lot from me as a fighter, to be able to get back up and finish a fight that strong, and go out 12 rounds. It showed me who the fighter that I am. But definitely there's small little things I need to work on that I focus on, and part of it is going back to my amateur style, and bringing that back to the professional boxing, such as, hitting and I'll get hit, being more in my rhythm, because if you see the fight, when I every time when you see me get in my good rhythm, and I'm in and out, you see my speed, you see my angles. I'm hard to get touched, and I push my opponents always to the ropes, and they respect me every time I show that type of boxing, and it's when I get a little flat-footed, it's when I start, just kind of trying to be the macho man, where sometimes I get hit, and I plan to kind of balance that a little bit better, and I just become one style of fighter.
Thank you
And
very. Oh, sorry.
and for your second question, I'm excited. The family is very excited. Everyone that I care for, that I love so much, that I've heard, they're very composed, and so am I. I'm very composed, and I just can't wait to just, it still feels like, there's so much I'm focused on right now. My weight, the finishing touches in my preparation. But I know the time will come when I'm, walking into that ring, and I just can't. I'm excited.
Thank you very much. Next, we go to Keith Eidick. Keith, please unmute yourself and go ahead when ready.
Jose, can you break down for us, without giving away your game plan or anything, of course, what makes Pedraza such a complex opponent? Because he's obviously a versatile fighter who has given so many top-level fighters problems.
Yeah, he's a fighter that could box very very well. Seems to fight behind his jab, and he switches stance. He's a fighter that switches stance, from a southpaw to an orthodox, and so he's gonna try to be tricky. But I think once we're in the ring, I'm gonna see how I could overwhelm him with my speed. Again, my power, my size, and hopefully, I could put him behind the ropes, and it's when you put a fighter on the ropes, it's hard for them to do all that.
Jose, what does beating a fighter as good as Pedraza, a guy with his resume, do to reestablish yourself after obviously it was a very a tough loss for you to deal with, of course?
Pedraza is, he's one of the best 140 pounders, so it just keeps me in this level. It just reminds me that I belong at this level of boxing in the 140 pounds, and I'm only 29 years old, so I feel like there's so much I could still learn from the sport. There's so much I would like to do in the sport of boxing, and to be honest, I think the best is yet to come, and there's always fighters that after a defeat they learn so much, they become a whole different fighter, and I hope to become one of those fighters, that you guys could see that is still very hungry and very motivated to learn, and has learned from his mistakes, and I plan to show all that, and move on to better things, and either chase for that rematch, fight for a world title after this fight, and or move to the 147-pound division, because I've been in the 140 division all my career, and I think there's a point that I feel sometimes that if I let my body develop, I might be a stronger, a better fighter. The speed. I sparred a lot of 147 and 154 pounders throughout my career, and when I spar 140 pounders, the speed is very significant. And although the 147 pounders are a little bit bigger, they don't. The snap and the speed at 140 and 135 are always sometimes a little bit more complicated, and it slows down as the bigger the weight class. With the snap, with the obviously the punches feel heavier, but the snap, what could hurt someone, it kind of slows down as the weight classes go up, and and I feel like my speed, my size, I could probably become a very good welterweight. And so I plan to move to the 147 division in the near future. But I would like to give it a try and try to become a world champion at 140 before I do that.
Jose, I just have one last thing for you. Obviously, Josh is fighting in 2 days against Jack Catterall. I was wondering if you could tell us your opinion of that fight, who will win and why.
To be quite honest, I believe Josh said he was going to win. I just think he's the better fighter overall throughout the whole board. And but yeah, it's a good fight. I'm focused on my fight right now. I'm not interested in the outcome of that fight. I just know that I would like to earn my way to a rematch, and I think it's going to be exciting if I get that opportunity to fight him again. And although he says, to his eyes, that the fight was his way throughout the whole fight, it wasn't. The first half of the fight, the first 5 rounds, I felt like I started pushing him, putting him behind the ropes. I don't think he's ever been in that situation throughout his career, and it was a fight that I let go of my hands and into control and took advantage of that. But I finished the fight strong, still believing we won some rounds at the end of the 3/4 of the fight. And I know in the rematch it could be. There's been fights that end with a knockout that get a rematch. There's been a fight that's been more one-sided that get the rematch, and I know that I'll be ready for that fight if it was to come my way. And it's a fight I want to chase, but I want to earn it. I don't want to lie to my fans. I don't want to say, hey, he's ducking me or nothing like that. I want to definitely earn it the right way. I believe Top Rank will do a great job with my career. They've always done it. The whole PR, the whole group, the whole family at Top Rank has always supported my career. So I know they believe in me. I know that they believe I'm capable of doing well if that rematch was to come. So I'm excited for those fights. That's why I want to go out there and really showcase my talents and my best, and I'm excited for that.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to Salvador. Before we go to Salvador, Jose, and as you know, you can watch Josh's fight on ESPN Plus. You said you didn't have much of a rooting interest, but obviously, if you want a rematch, you would have to root for him to win. So,
yeah. No, like I said, I believe he'll win. I really don't care how he looks, or because Jack Catterall is. I don't believe he's a fighter that I am. But I hope he does win. I hope of course, he keeps the titles. I hope that they stay with Top Rank, and hopefully we'll make that fight happen.
So listen, Jose, you get that ESPN Plus app ready, smartphone, TV. As you know, there are many ways to watch boxing on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Because I never mentioned how much ESPN Plus is amazing ever. Salvador, please go ahead when ready, my friend. Unmute yourself.
Yes.
Go ahead, Salvador.
Hola, ya estoy aquí. Listo, gracias. ¿Cómo estás, José? Primero que nada, me da mucho gusto saludarte. Te veo bien enfocado, motivado para este regreso al ring.
Sí, un saludo, Salvador. No, así es. Me siento muy motivado. Yo creo que ya era hora de regresar y gracias a Dios tuvimos un buen campamento, la verdad, lo disfruté mucho. Estoy disfrutando toda esta experiencia de regresar y hacerlo por la familia, hacerlo por mí, por la gente que me ha apoyado. Y me da gusto saber de este campamento, de saber cuánto yo quiero el deporte del boxeo y cuánto lo amo. En el guanteo lo ha disfrutado bastante y eso es una señal que estoy motivado y que tengo muchos años más para demostrar y aprender más en este deporte.
Gardi, ¿quieres ayudarme o le seguimos?
Chava?
Ellos asking for Gardy if he wants
hold on. I think
translate
Gardy muted himself.
I'm ready to go.
Gardy, sorry. Go ahead, Gardy.
When I mute myself, I have to have Evan give me permission back.
Yes, I don't trust Gardy Lopez with the controls, obviously. No.
Hey,
Gardy, please go ahead.
The question was, how did you feel of finally coming back? And Jose said that this is the time to come back. You know, he feels well, he's firing well, he's enjoying the sport again, he has the love for boxing again, and he's just looking to look great in the ring.
Perfecto. José, en un ejercicio de sinceridad que bien contestabas a mis compañeros, decías por ahí que habías cambiado algunas cosas, que te habías equivocado en otras. ¿Qué hábitos, por ejemplo, para darnos cuenta de ello, qué hábitos, por ejemplo, quitaste de lo que habías hecho hasta antes de esta pelea con Josh Taylor?
You have mentioned that you have made some changes leading up to these fights and fixed some errors that you were making. What are the changes and what are the errors that you made on the Taylor fight?
Sí, pues yo creo que en el ring, en la defensa, ¿no? Atacaba y cuando me detuvía, se me olvidaba de mi defensa y también como que perdí un poquito la enfocación y de demostrar la hambre que tenía yo cuando estaba en esa pelea. Y él aprovechó bien durante el 7 round, él aprovechó y de ahí ya tomó el control un poquito de la pelea y pues claro, yo después de la caída pues me estaba recuperando todavía y peleando lo mejor que podía, pero fue un golpe que me conectó bien. Obviamente yo sentí que era tiempo para tomar un paso para atrás y bajé la guardia y me dejé pegar, ¿no? Es una pelea que yo creo que me estaba yendo a mi favor. En el sexto asalto tuve un flash knockdown, entré yo muy confiado porque como les dije, yo sentía que ya estaba agarrando este ritmo así como lo hice con Maurice Hooker, ya lo estaba quebrando después del cuarto, quinto round, me estaba respetando bastante y yo sentía que la pelea era para mí. Y todos los que saben, todos los boxeadores que han peleado saben el lenguaje del cuerpo. Y Mikey García, todos me lo dijeron, la pelea estaba a tu favor después del quinto round. Simplemente la dejé yo de mis manos. Y ya cuando yo duré asaltos a recuperar, pues eran asaltos que no había mucha acción, pero tal vez lo estaban dando a él, simplemente porque yo me estaba recuperando.
Claro.
Ya los últimos el 11, el 12, el 10, el 11 y el 12, yo creo que yo terminé también fuerte y gané uno de esos asaltos. La pelea estaba muy cerrada, yo creo que del quinto round, yo creo que nomás había perdido yo un asalto de los primeros 5 rounds, para ser sincero. Y pues ahí aprendí que en ese nivel hay que estar bien enfocado siempre en la defensa, entrar y salir, conectar y no dejar que te conecten. Estoy trabajando bastante en la defensa. Mucho ritmo, mucho quebrando la cintura. Y también me ha preparado muy bien afuera, menos entrevistas, menos distracciones, menos ¿cómo te diré? Menos presión. Me ha dedicado mucho a mi familia. Ha disfrutado la dieta del campamento, me ha enfocado mucho en mi dieta para hacer el peso mucho mejor. Yo creo que soy una persona muy grande en las 140 libras, donde a veces las últimas 2 peleas, porque por la pandemia ha estado yo entrenando casi todo el año y ha dejado mucho en el gimnasio. Y cuando es hora de la pelea, siento el cuerpo más cansado que otras veces. Esta vez me enfoqué mucho en mi peso, en hacer las cosas mejor y tener un mejor físico para la pelea.
One of the things that I have focused on correcting for this fight was the mistake of, my defense. At times, I got confident during the fight because I felt like I was dominating the first 5 rounds, and he connected me with a good punch, and I had a flash knockdown on the sixth round. After that, I came back, and in the 7th round, when the referee was breaking us, I took a step back and not focusing on my defense, and he connected me with a good punch. So it took me a while to recover from that second knockdown. And even though there was not that many action, maybe they were giving him some rounds, but I feel like it was a super close fight. Other than working on my defense, outside of the ring, outside of the gym, I focus, in my family and in my diet. I don't have that much pressure anymore. I haven't done that much media for this camp, and like just in the fight with Hooker, I felt like I was breaking him down, and little by little, to the point where he connected me in the 6th and 7th round.
Gary, that was the best piece of translating I've had. I mean, I was half expecting Gardy to be like, I expected this is going to be a good fight, and that piece of translating. Gardy, that was the best piece of translating I've ever seen you do. Yeah, and there's a big commotion out here in Scotland because there's free beer in the hotel hallways. I guess we were in Scotland, so yeah, it is fight week. Although they do know how to get down like that in Fresno and the Central Valley as well, as I've been to many. What's that? Yeah, Cuyahoga Sequoia, my coworker just told me. So a shout out to them. Next question, Mike Rueda. We're speaking of the Central Valley. We'll go back to the Central Valley to Mike Rueda. Please unmute yourself, Mike.
Thank you. Hey, Jose, how you doing?
Good, Mike. How's it going?
Good, good. A couple quick questions. First one, I spoke with Robert Garcia last week, interviewed him, and it kind of leads to your point that you're talking about fighting at home. He said fighting in Fresno, the atmosphere is really electric and is different than fighting in other places. Obviously, you fought in China, New York, Vegas, Texas. When you come back home, do you really feel that difference in the atmospheres compared to when you have fought in other places or seen other fights in other locations?
Yeah, it's just fighting in the ring in front of a big, fan base, and the Hispanics are always going to turn out, and the Hispanics will always show support for the sport of boxing, and they will have a great time doing so. And in Fresno being a new boxing market, it gives me so much excitement to know how well they know how to support the sport of boxing, because before me, there wasn't too many fights in Fresno. And so it's like, who taught them how to be great fans? It's like, how do they get that experience to go out there and give each other a great atmosphere, And I've spoken to many of the commissioners that have worked in many fights in Las Vegas, big fights in Las Vegas, big fights in Texas, and in different parts of the country and the world. And they themselves enjoy, working in Fresno because they never see nothing like it. And I think it's because of the unity in the Central Valley. It's a family-oriented communities. The family-oriented communities that are families that take their kids and their grandfathers. There's no age limit. You see kids and you see grandparents who are looking forward to watching me fight and watching me perform. I could honestly say that when it comes to social media, I think my biggest fan base are people that don't have social media. My biggest fans are people who I get messages from their grandkids saying that how much I'm loved by the grandfather and how they bring me up on their dinner tables as a proud example of the Central Valley, and that right there makes me extremely motivated. So I know we have the future of the generation of kids watching me and are excited, and also I have the great, the grandparents, the great grandparents that are a generation that taught us many that gave us many advices, So I have them watching me. So that it's a crowd that I see in Fresno that really makes me feel good. It makes me feel proud about the Central Valley.
Definitely, and I agree with that. I see that all the time for when you've done appearances at stores or things like that. It's always the older generation that's there, first people in line, and it's the younger people getting there later on, and it's them talking to you first. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And second question, with Pedraza, obviously you weren't going to fight someone, you know, that could be considered an easy touch as your comeback fight. As you said, you want to earn it. How did you land on Pedraza, and did you watch his last fight that made you say, you know, that's the guy I want to come back against?
Yeah, Pedraza, definitely. Pedraza has done really well in his last couple fights. You know, he's shown so much development in the 140 division. So I know in order to stay at my best, I gotta place it best, you know, and to push myself and to be ready for say Josh Taylor rematch. I have to fight these type of fights. You know, I can't just get to the world title fights, you know, taking an easy way, you know. So he was available. I also mentioned to my manager Rick that if Jose Cepeda was available, that'd be a great fight too. That the fans want to watch. But Jose Cepeda had a fight with Josue Vargas out of New York, and you know, he earned a good vacation after the fight. But it's still, those fights are still possible in the near future. There's also Arnold Barbosa, who's also a great 140 pounder. I'm not sure his plans are, but it seems to me that he's eyeing Teofimo Lopez as his, you know, as Teofimo moves to 140. But all those guys were in my radar. Pedraza just was available, and it was a fight that got made really easy, simple. Didn't take too much of the negotiation. So you know, it's just the top ring has the top junior welterweights in the world. You know, so there's it's a good weight class to be in, and it's a good company to be a part of right now.
Thank you very much. We only got a few more minutes with Jose, so we'll get a couple more questions and then get the champ out of here. Go back to Central Valley. Andre Covington. I believe Andre's from the Central Valley. If you're not Andre, my apologies. I think he is. Andre, please unmute yourself and go ahead. Andre?
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Yes, he is from the Central Valley. I was right. Andre, please go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. What's up, champ? Always good to see you. I will say this, knowing you and knowing the pressure that you felt, you talked about pressure early on when you were undefeated. I remember being at a dinner with you, and we were roasting you and having some fun, and you got emotional talking about the pressure that you were under, you know, and you felt like, you know, you didn't want to lose because you didn't want to disappoint not only your family, but your fans. I saw that, knowing you since you were a little guy, man, and becoming champion. You know, and being close to you in that regard, I felt you that night. And I felt that pressure, and you just spoke on it, so it kind of confirmed. And I had a conversation with Bernard Hopkins. We talked on the phone for about 2 hours. He said one of the best things that happened to him in his career is when he lost to Roy Jones Jr. Because that undefeated, you know, trying to hold on to that, it lifted a weight off of him. And he went on to win a long time after that. So he went on to be great in the Hall of Famer. Having that L on your record and that pressure, just speak on that, how you felt before and after.
Yeah, so no, you're right. You know, and I'm glad you do remember that dinner. And you know, it's my whole career. I feel like, or my whole life, I feel like I've been, you know, pushing myself so much to give so much back to my family, right, for everything they've done, the way they migrated from Mexico to give us a better beginning. You know, I didn't want my father to be disappointed. I wanted us to move forward. Then I started meeting a lot of great families in the community of Avenal, where I was raised, and you know, and I wanted to do so much for them and the community as well. You know, be a good role model for the kids, and it's based on the respect that I had. But then, you know, as I turned professional, I had that killing instinct, and I you know, I felt like I was untouchable, and I was going through my opponents, and I never fought a guy with a losing record, even as a prospect, when I first began my professional career. I always, you know, fought great competition, and I was going through them until, you know, you come to a point where you've done so much, and you realize that the reward is not what you thought it was gonna be. And I'm not talking about financial reward, Dre, because I made great money in my professional career. I've invested my money very well. I've done very good things. I started my father's company, and he's doing very well for himself. Now he's his own boss. My whole family now, my media family, we don't. Now we have they have a company that they focus on, and I got my career that I focus on. And if the day was to happen that I, you know, stop boxing, I'm gonna be okay for the rest of my life financially. But I was thinking more of the reward of appreciation of knowing that that I was I started to feel like everything I've done was for a reason, and I started doubting myself a little bit, and but then big fights started happening, and I started winning those fights, and those fights got closer. They were not as easy, and then the fan base, they were a little skeptical, and there were some had opinions about other fighters being better, and things like that, right? So. I try to continue, staying focused and push myself, and knowing that I'm a great fighter. To be honest, I think I'm probably and the best, or one of the best 140 pounders in the world, but I let that kind of get to me. I guess I was unexperienced with the way I handle the outside comments, and sometimes you feel like you're thick-skinned. Sometimes you feel like you have a great family, a great foundation, that you won't let that bother you, but it gets to you because we're humans, and we got emotions, and I think it was a mix of everything that really put that pressure on me to be so afraid to lose because I was unaware of the outcome. But now that it happened, and they saw, my biggest fans, my family, my biggest supporters, they saw the way I got back up in my last fight, and the way I finished the fight. They saw that. They saw a true warrior. They saw a true champion in me, and it wasn't too bad. All the things that I fear wasn't too bad. After the fight, I was embarrassed to walk outside. I was embarrassed to leave the house, and I was just staying in my smaller circle and focus on my son and my newborn daughter. But the people that have been there for me since day one, they never left. My family never left, my team never left, and that made me feel good. That itself was a beautiful feeling, because I didn't lose nothing that I thought I was gonna lose, right? Yeah, some fans maybe turn away and stuff like that, but things that matter to me, things that make me the person who I am, never left. So that gave me that satisfaction feeling, and now I'm able to train and move on. Excited that I have a solid team, and that I'm confident that with me and my team, we're ready to take over the world. I feel like I have a great team with me, and I'm able to do what I do at my best now, with all that pressure, with all that fear of all the possibilities that were hunting my mind at times. So that's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at, and I'm at the gym. No one has seen this Jose Ramirez in a long time that they're seeing now in the sparring stations. Guys that are coming from all over the Los Angeles area, watchweights, super watchweights, junior middleweights. They're coming to spar me. They're like, man, Jose, you're the hardest 140 pounder I've ever sparred, and I could see their excitement in the gym to see a fighter like me right now, the way I'm training, the way I'm looking. It's like they can't wait to show me off. So I hope to make them proud next weekend.